Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching How to Get Away with Murder, Season 6, Episode 11, The Reckoning, which, you know, ominous title as always. Whose reckoning is it going to be? Is it Annalisa's finally getting her reckoning? I mean, I don't say that in, like, finally, like, she deserves it, but just, you know, it's been building. Is it because Connor and Michaela are going to get their reckoning from taking the deal? Is it the whole group getting their reckoning? Are we going to find out what happened to Asher for his reckoning? Because I did see, because he's... I know who plays Asher, his name has just escaped my head. Matt McGorry, that's his name, isn't it? I probably not pronounced that correctly. He tweeted last night that this was the last time we were going to see new footage of Asher, which makes me think we might actually find out what happened to him in this episode, which would be, I need to know. So yeah, I'm so excited for this episode, I'm so terrified for this episode. I genuinely, after I finished watching last week's, I spent the rest of that day feeling on edge and stressed, like even more than I already was with my anxiety. I was like, I'm just so stressed, and it was the feelings of How to Get Away with Murder blurring into real life, so that, looking forward to that again today, let's go. Prison. Is this a nightmare or happening?
Someone needs to take care of the baby.
I'm guessing this is a nightmare. Definitely a nightmare. Is it baby West, baby Christopher, the baby that she lost? Poor Annalise. Home. Okay.
It's just a dream.
Home with an ankle monitor. Out on bail, I guess.
Almost threw her over the balcony a few times.
That's one way to finally get charged for murder.
This is the arraignment in case 15.
Oh good, we get to see.
United false identification document and a related charge of
so they only managed to arrest her at this stage for
That's it.
that. Which I guess is why she got house arrest.
This time.
Oh, Abraham Lincoln never met a lawyer as good as me when he said that. True.
I just want them all to get away with it. As much as possible.
I haven't had a drink in 5 months.
Let's keep it that way, honey.
She loves you.
You know what? A cat. And we take that ankle bracelet and put it on that thing.
I love her so
and
much.
go about your... Got a better one? Where is it? Let me see.
My plan starts
love
with
her.
calling up Sal.
Hello, Connor.
If we can't go to the funeral, I figure we honor him by doing stuff he likes.
Liked.
Oh,
Yes, we're in hell, but let's just eat cookies for breakfast until we get out.
that's kind of like the world right now.
Oh, God.
What is that? Time to figure out we took a deal.
Annalise isn't gonna figure it out.
She knows already.
Okay, she might figure it out.
Thanks for the comfort.
Look, I isn't gonna let anything bad happen to us after what happened to Asher. Shut up now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Trust her.
You also trust the kids. Now look.
But they were in an impossible situation, and Annalise had fled the country.
He did this to himself.
You mourn in different ways,
I got it.
in different amounts.
What killer wants to go to his victim's funeral?
She's gonna accuse everyone of killing him.
Wes is not the kind of guy who could kill someone, so he had help. I wasn't there, but
Wes
yeah,
did it though.
I don't
I
know,
mean,
please,
they all covered
please,
it up
your phone.
afterwards, and you know, he was strangling Rebecca, but Wes did kill him.
Come pick me up right now.
I can't.
Chloe, what?
So she's
Atlantic City.
So part of the reason that she's going crazy with grief, other than the fact that her brother is dead, is because she feels like she didn't do enough to come and save him unless she killed him. Like, Gabriel is just so on the peripheries of this, but he's got himself right into the middle of all the mess.
That Bonnie and Clyde team are shady.
They have my back, Mama.
They are shady though.
What happened to
Most murderer of the group, I
Nick
think.
is the last. We need more than just friends.
Ooh. She's
You
coming
mean
out.
that you were...
Before Sam.
We don't see what her mum's reaction was.
Sweater, Miss O.
Everyone loves Annalise's mum. I love Annalise's mum. I think she was gonna be confused but okay with Annalise being bi.
Better, right?
What are you doing?
It's happening.
What is?
The reckoning. I just got off the phone with my
The
lawyer.
reckoning.
Annalise filed a motion.
It's horrible though, because when they agreed to the deal, Annalise had vanished.
Isn't necessary.
Montes needs a review of that law. I'm sure one of my students can tutor her.
That was a good line.
You're hired.
Finally. That's this one. First.
You can't leave Annalise. Oh God. Goodness. I don't dislike Asher for taking the deal. I mean, I wish that he'd been able to hold out longer so that he wasn't in such a desperate state, but
This is
I in no way blame him.
I just have to
Because
say this.
who could imagine being in their conversation, and who is that message for, and what is happening? No, you can't. You can't. Nate. She went to see Nate.
Till I had one of my spells.
Bull, mama.
It's the guilt.
He did get angry
Because
for
you're
her
wrong and you know you're wrong.
over killing his father, and like she did everything she could to help him.
With all due respect.
And it's his anger over killing Miller when he wasn't guilty.
Talking about all.
Hurt little boy.
Do you know how different this show would be if Annalise's mum had been in it every episode?
Doing what we should have done 3 years ago when we tried to go to the police.
It is true that they tried to go and Annalise stopped them.
Who stopped us?
I mean, how different would this all be for them?
By promising.
I'm the answer to my problem.
And why are you all ladies or you don't?
Well, like you said, I'm confused.
There is also bisexualism, pansexual.
Look, it's that simple, Mama.
You remember all those boys I caught?
I was just scared.
Do you want to make out?
The little bitches turned.
Can I go rip their heads off
I mean, they did turn, but the FBI already knew. Oh, I don't like this. I liked when they were all a team.
Annalise has to see us.
See if his deal requires continued cooperation. Same for Miss Pratt.
Oh.
And frankly, same.
Well, then they can, ultimately, if they come up with a better plan, stop cooperating. And then if they can just be like, oh, we were intimidated and scared, and like Connor had a panic attack and wasn't given help, and then it will be okay. Did he not send it? And we don't even get to see all of what was on it. Why would you answer the door? Who was that? Who was that? Oh my goodness. The FBI agent? Who was it? Oh my god. I need to know.
You want some sandwiches? Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I made them myself.
Oh dear.
And when I had a swing set outside, maybe you want to go out there and play a little bit.
I hate this. I'm so stressed, and I love every single character here. And I just want them all to be happy.
You may want to turn on me next.
Tell us why we shouldn't.
Because then I'll turn on you. And then I'm gonna have to tell the world the truth.
An accurate representation of the last few years.
Say more, Oliver.
They're
Okay, if you're
all
really trying to save us
involved
from our
and
own
messed up.
mistakes, then why did you take off to Mexico without telling us?
Oh, okay. Is that what you're upset about?
I'm upset about a lot right now.
I mean, that would be a big
Wait,
part
because
of
I
taking the
was
deal.
scared. Do I seem like a fool to you? And if we can't trust each other, what do we have?
I mean, they did sign the deal when Annalise, like I keep saying, had fled on them.
Lied right to my face and badly.
We've been protecting them for all these years.
And you.
So I'm the same as them to you.
Well, technically, you're guiltier because your murder was premeditated.
Bonnie, wake up!
Oh my goodness, was it Bonnie? Because Bonnie, that's what Bonnie does. Bonnie kills anyone she thinks might turn, like Rebecca.
It wasn't me.
I can believe that, but I also 100% think Bonnie is the most likely suspect. So obviously it's not going to be her. I need to know. Who was it? The FBI agent to frame them is still a good theory.
Client's whole history.
How do they know about I mean, they've dug deep.
What matters is who gave the FBI the article.
Yeah.
Could have given him these.
Denver files.
Of course he had them all this time and he turned on them.
These already.
S.O.B.
Oh god. She'll burn down his house. I mean, I don't blame her for the first one.
Was I?
You were working 2 jobs because Daddy left us.
Yeah.
And not hearing me. Still think you only have you to lean on. No wonder you're exhausted. Need to protect from now on. Is you?
I hate that we've reached this point where they're all kind of looking out for themselves. Makes sense.
They don't like it.
Because we do have to really remember that Connor and Michaela were going to the police in season 1.
Smells like in a sad way.
Are they allowed in here?
Laura have a key.
Because she lived here before Asher.
When?
Okay, is this just your way of
Was it
deflecting
Laurel?
blame for whatever you did to Asher?
I know from personal experience.
It was Laurel!
Sleeper. So maybe I should go to the FBI and tell them that.
Wait. Is Laurel back? No. I'm gonna leave you be.
Oh my god, it's Laurel! Oh my god, it's Laurel. Because she's trying to protect them all herself. I'm so...
Or do it. Her? Record saying anything actual?
I think we should call 911.
Call them.
Of course, she'd hacked in.
Mushrooms.
So she even framed them! She even framed them and she had a key to everything. And she actually framed... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Why it's been the three of us?
It has.
You're going to be the last one of those mother...
I'm so stressed. I'm gonna be stressed for episodes and episodes and episodes.
Check your email.
Oh gosh.
It's me. You've all lost who you are. I can say
We
that because it happened to me
have.
too. We all got caught up in something much bigger than us. But you all still have good in you. Hey, Connor. I mean, I thought you make the awesome decision to marry Oliver. You two taught me what real love looks like.
Oh.
Michaela. Oh, Michaela. I love you so much.
Doesn't matter. I'm here
This.
Who are you?
now. Isn't this the penthouse?
Send me a copy of the Winterbottom file.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, how'd they find out?
She even dressed like
Yell
Laurel.
at me, just...
What is even happening? They all just think it was Laurel. That was clever.
Something my neighbor... I just want you to...
Framing Laurel, technically, because it looked like Laurel.
We came to law school for the future.
Unless the video caught who it was.
Place.
Did the camera catch her? It was in his hand, wasn't it?
Because I still think you can all be those good people.
Oh.
You could understand. Or at least try.
This is such a, like, I don't blame any of them for anything they're doing, I just hate it, and I just, ugh. Oh.
Tasher, I never really said this to you, and dancing and bad jokes, and for just being a cornball.
He loves you.
How much I needed you until you were gone, so. Someone else say something.
I need all of these three to survive.
So much. Cheers.
Oh gosh.
Guys, open up.
Are you kidding me? Go away!
Stop stalking us. You know who killed Asher?
It wasn't Laurel though. Oh my goodness, they're all gonna think it was Laurel and it wasn't.
Agent Pollock in here.
Oh, she's gonna walk in and he's gonna recognize her. Because she's a double agent.
Mr. Maddox, this is Special Agent Pollock, Asher's point person here at the Bureau.
Yep.
Gabriel.
Yep.
It was the FBI.
But is she just a double agent for the Castillos? Or was it the FBI, like, some... I just... So this episode was very stressful. It wasn't quite as stressful as the last episode because it was just kind of a lot of pieces slotting and moving ready for what's going to come in the next episodes. I can't believe we solved Asher's murder so quickly. I guess because it's the final season, there's so much else that has to get sorted out that kind of if we had, 5 episodes of Who Killed Asher, then the show wouldn't be wrapped up. So I'm kind of glad that we got to see it. And not only was it just a theory, we got to see it. So we know for sure it was her, but we also know that she's the person that's been sent by the Castillos. So are the Castillos working with the FBI against Annalise? Is it all a huge conspiracy? Is it sort of the FBI is genuinely just trying to catch people who they think are murderers and that woman's a double agent? Like, there's a lot we need to unpack here, and if that has been something that we already know that I have missed, do tell me, but otherwise it's great fun to speculate whether the FBI is having a conspiracy with the Castillos from the beginning, or whether it has been just the Castillos have infiltrated the FBI. I remember that, I mean, like, I was kind of surprised it was Laurel, but I was also like, Laurel, we've always wondered how far she would go, we've always wondered kind of what lengths she would take, etc. And, I would have been like, well, that was a little bit unexpected, but I guess you can kind of understand she's protecting her kid and she maybe could do it. And then I was like, well, she framed them for it. Like, I guess she's, there were always rumours that maybe she was ruthless. So I actually kind of liked that it wasn't Laurel because I was kind of it would have changed my opinion on Laurel as a character, but she was a character that had red flags or question marks that other characters kept raising that I would have been like, oh, okay, so that's that. But I'm kind of glad it wasn't. We still, you know, I assume she'll come into it again, and we still need to know what the hell's happening with that, the end of the last season with the Annalise in the coffin in the West, you know, what is happening with this? But, oh god, I mean, I hate that we have Annalise, Bonnie and Frank and the kids, like, I know it kind of has always had that, and the hardest thing is that I think it is so true that we have to remember, anyone that's hating on Connor and Michaela, like, I'm not hating on either side of this debate, I understand both, but they were the two that in season 1 couldn't cope with any of it. They went to the FBI. Annalise came and said, no, I'll protect you. And then season 2, Annalise was like, hey, I need you to come help me cover up another murder. You know, kind of, I'm in no way blaming Annalise, because I think she has genuinely been trying to keep everyone safe, and I think, like we've always known, she's a very complicated, very sort of, she's got a lot of work on her. She's a very messed up kind of person, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way that, like, you know, she's incredibly strong for being as put together as she is and for coping as well as she is. But I mean, like, there's been a lot of stuff that they've done that, you know, in season 1, if they had just gone to the police, if they had just said, okay, yeah, I mean, I know that they were in the immediate moment thinking, oh, we might go to prison for a bit, our law careers will be over, but the situation they were in then would be a lot less if they were like, oh, we think he killed Lila and he was strangling Rebecca, and Rebecca would have, I imagine, had, you know, handprints around her neck. You know, I feel like maybe if they had gone to the police, yeah, they would have ended up with some prison time, but that's what they're facing now anyway. So I kind of think that you have to remember that Annalise did stop them, and that throughout the series, Connor in particular has been very vocal in his fact of not trusting Annalise or feeling like she isn't necessarily doing the right thing to try and help them, and they've kind of got better at that, but at the same time they've always been slightly at odds. And you know, something that I would like to think would be that the end of the show would be these characters being okay with each other, but who knows. But also that when they signed those deals, they were being told that Annalise was gone, that Annalise had fled, the country had gone missing. Now, if you think this person that promised to protect you fled the country, are you going to take a deal to save yourself that puts them in jeopardy? I mean, she wasn't there. It wasn't like they were like, oh, Annalise is here trying to represent you. It was Bonnie, etc. So kind of, in that sense, I do not blame them taking it. I think it's interesting that their deals have the clause that they have to do continuous. You know, they have to keep working with the FBI. So that seems like they could turn around and be like, we're not doing it anymore, I take my deal back. And then, you know, if they try and accuse them of those crimes, they can say, I'm sorry, we was very stressed. Like, you know, you told us our friend was dead, you had us in these rooms, and you kind of, like, I just wanted to try and save myself because, you know, people in the real world, deals, you know, if someone is arrested for murder and they're told, oh, we'll give you 10 years instead of life, you might sign that even if you're innocent because you just thought of life in prison is so horrific. So, you know, they could get away with it. I'm still hoping. The show is called How to Get Away with Murder, so if the surviving characters, which is hopefully everyone that's currently alive, do not get away with it at the end, I'm going to call this show false advertising. But I like, you know, I'm kind of glad that as much as they're like, oh, the brats, the bastards, you know, that Annalise, Bonnie, etc. are kind of like, you know, I get it. I don't find it surprising that they did it. And like I said, Annalise not being there was a huge part of that. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because they know she knows, but they haven't had the conversation about knowing. So obviously they're going to keep bumping into things. What's the FBI going to do? Especially now the kids suspect the FBI. I mean, if the FBI killed one informant, they think, to improve their case, and maybe that is what happened. Like I said, there's two different possibilities. Are they going to trust them, or are they going to now go back to Annalise and be like, look, we're really sorry, but we think the FBI is super dodgy, can you help us? Because if they still can't get a case, bump them off, the FBI will be like, oh, they were turning on Annalise, they'd even agreed to testify against her, and now they're dead. You know, they're going to feel like they're even more danger, that maybe they thought that danger was passing by having signed the deal that, you know, oh, we're going to be protected now, maybe we should go into witness protection, maybe the FBI can keep us safe, but now they're going to think, oh, the FBI are more dangerous, you know, we could be killed by them. Maybe next episode we will see them going back to Annalise, and I mean, there's a hell of a lot of reckoning to be done. I mean, and like we said, Annalise told them not to go to the cops in the first place. At the same time, they did turn on her after everything she's done for them. So, like, it is a messed up situation. I love this show. I mean, this has been building, and I think the last episode was especially good because you really had that sense of claustrophobia. Like, as a viewer, I felt the walls closing in on Connor and Michaela, and they're everyone, but those two in particular. So them signing the deals makes total sense, because there are times where you have to put yourself first. It's the same way that I don't love that Asher signed the deal. I kind of wished he'd been able to hold off, but again, he was doing it for his family, he was doing it to try and save himself, and you know, when you're in that impossible situation, none of us know how we're going to respond, and his family were also, you know, that was all part of it, and maybe if he hadn't signed the deal, then they wouldn't have been in the position to want to sign their deals, etc. But, you know, I don't think he did it. And I actually love that we got to see his final message of love for them. And I think that would have in a way helped them with grieving him, with sort of being able to accept that he was a good person. It wasn't like he turned against them and was like twirling his moustache, trying to betray them, that maybe he was going through all the same feelings they're going through now, having signed for Annalise. But it's such a messed up situation. This show was always going to end in a giant mess, and we felt that building and building and building, especially the first time we saw Operation Bonfire was a thing. And Nate turning them in, oh, I love Annalise's mum, but I am just, it's too much and I'm very stressed, but I also cannot wait to see where the show's going to end, but I'm so frightened. I need these characters to survive. At the very least, I mean, Connor surviving is not something I am wanting to barter on. Connor will survive, or else I will be flying to America, coronavirus or not, to have words with the writers. And then I would like Michaela and Oliver for Connor, like them to survive and get to still be friends and just live. Maybe after 5 years in prison, ideally, I'd like them to find a way to get out of that. I also want Annalise to survive. Those are the 4 that I'm like, must survive. Tegan as well. Maybe Annalise and Tegan can get together, I don't know. Tegan, I love Tegan. Then we have Bonnie and Frank, who ideally I would like to survive. They've been in the show for so long, I'm glad that they're in it till the end, and if they died now, at least they'd be kind of in it. But they have both murdered people. I mean, if any of the main characters currently alive had to go, for me, it would be Bonnie, Frank and Nate. Nate, because he's turned on everyone, but Nate in a way has turned on everyone when he didn't need to. He wasn't under the we're going to arrest you and send you to prison for life sort of, oh, you've had a panic attack, tough, no medical care. You know, kind of, he wasn't in the dire straits they were. He kind of just turned against them over his own messed up feelings of guilt. And, you know, Annalise did do everything she could for his father. I mean, if he had turned against them because of the time she framed him for murder, I would be much more understanding. But he turned against her because she did everything she could to help his father, which, okay, didn't help his father, but that wasn't Annalise's fault. That was the governor and everything. And what is happening with the governor? Is she still governing? I don't know. We haven't seen her in a while. But yes, it's such a complicated situation. But that is my deal with them. Okay, you can have Bonnie, Frank, or Nate. And again, with that, ideally Frank or Nate, because I feel like Bonnie, as much as I've warmed her recently over the last couple of seasons, but Rebecca, the way she killed Rebecca was just unnecessary. It was heartless. She couldn't care less. You know, when Annalise came to confront her about it, she was like, yeah, I did it for you. You know, I feel like if Annalise said to her, I need you to go and kill the kids, she would be there with her knife to stab them all. You know, like, I love Bonnie in a way as a character. I mean, if Bonnie hadn't been in the show would not be the show. I love Bonnie, but I'm also like, but then I think a lot of that comes from the trauma and suffering she went through as a child. So she's the one I'd let live out of the 3 that I'm letting die. But yeah, this was a brilliant episode, as the whole show is. And I'm so sad the show's going to end, but at the same time, I think it's good that it's ending now when it's still strong. I mean, for me, season 4 was the weakest season. It was the season I was less invested in, but season 5 picked it up, and I think it's not a show that would stay healthy for 10, 12, 15 seasons. It's a show that kind of needs to come to its end, but in its own way, and hopefully the character can get away with murder, like I said, or else this show will be false advertising. So yeah, I'm going to go full stress for the rest of my day. Thank you for watching.